Hello. So this is a video for tips and strategies for writing. So now writing, it really depends on the student's age and the student's reading level. Those are really big factors. The majority of their writing should be done independently. But if they are struggling and you see that they are needing some help, here's how you can help them. So first I want to talk about invented spelling or kid writing. The main idea of that is that the students are listening to the sounds and writing what they hear. When we're doing that, we're not so much focusing on if the word is spelled correctly, but are they using the sounds that they know to write the words. So, for example, if I were going to write the word bird, for example, I would have the student listen to the sounds and we would tap out the word first. So we would do b, d, bird. And so now we would go back and say, okay, what is the first sound you heard? B. And we would write it. Okay. Now what's the next sound you hear? So now they're going to write d. And now they're going to write d. So they might not necessarily know that I and R say However, that's okay. If they write B-R-D, that means they are using the sounds that they do know. However, if your student is a beginning reader and writer, like a 1 yellow, a 2 yellow, 1 Y, 2 Y, they may only hear B. Or B and D. So at the beginning of writing, when students are just learning how to write, we focus on the first sound, the initial sound. And then we listen for the initial sound, the first sound, and the last sound. So that's where we get the B and the D. And then once we have that down, we start working towards the sounds in the middle. So that's how we start, and that's how we're going to work with inventive spelling. They're listening to the sounds that they hear, and then after they're done writing, have them read it back to you, and you can, underneath it, you can write it, their sentence the correct way. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what this kind of looks like at the different levels. Let me tilt this up a little bit more. There, that's good. Okay, so like I said, for the yellow levels, this is really our beginning readers and writers. So they are going to be listening to the sounds that they hear and really focusing on that initial sound, and then listening for the final sound, and then starting to listen to the sounds in the middle. We're also starting to learn power words, especially in 3Y. Power words are important, and that continues throughout the rest of the levels in the early childhood phase. So a sentence like I have here, I like turtles, would look like this. We would want them to write the word I correctly. It's a power word. We would try and have them write it correctly. What I like to do is show them the list, and if they know that word, I'd have them find it, or I would give them an option like, okay, it's in between. It's one of these 3 words here. Which word is like, or which word is they? Whatever the word is that they're trying to spell. And so then for this first part, I just wrote the letter T. I just wrote the initial sound, the first sound I heard. Or they'll start listening to all of the sounds in the word and writing out the beginning, middle, and end. Even for some of our 1Y kiddos, it's okay if they just write, I like turtles. But in first grade, the majority of the students have progressed from that, but if your student is in kindergarten, let's say, I and then the letter L for like and then the letter T, that would be definitely appropriate if your student was in kindergarten. Okay, so now looking at the green levels, 1G and 2G, 1 green, 2 green. Now we're starting to write a little bit more. We're adding some detail. We're making our sentences longer, or we're writing more sentences. So this is what I wrote for 2 green. It says, I like turtles. They swim in water. So again, we still have some words not totally spelled correctly, but we're really listening to those sounds. We're starting to use the blend like SW here, or we're using our digraphs like CH. So we're starting to use more phonics skills, but again, the invented spelling is still expected, and will help the students also really with their reading as well. If they're using this invented spelling in their writing, they're just going to start really using that idea of the sounds while reading as well. So now moving towards the blue and the red levels. In the blue and red levels, we have quite a bit of, power words that we now know. When working in the first blue level, 1B, students will learn in total about 300 power words. So we have quite a list to use when we're writing and reading, and so that's important to remember while the students are writing. So my favorite animal is a turtle. I like how they swim under the water. Our sentences are longer, they're a little bit more complex, they're giving some more information, and there's more to this idea. It's not just a simple one phrase, there's a lot of detail behind it. And again, we have some longer power words here, but again, these are power words, so these are words that the students need to know how to be able to read, and they need to now know how to write them as well. So again, using those lists and having them available to the students. The lists are all on the ARC bookshelf, or you can message me and I can email you a list as well. But they are still working on, some vowel teams and different phonics patterns and different things like that. A lot of the irregular type of sounds. So invented spelling is still important in blue and red. They should be using invented spelling for words that they don't know, but for the words that they do know, they should be using their resources, books, our power word lists. But invented spelling is still expected. So, just to kind of go over and make a list for you of what we are looking for with student writing. So we expect to see really 4 things when students are writing. The first one is, like I've been saying, their power words. Are they using their power words? Are they spelling them correctly? If they're still learning them, then they should try to find them in a book, or they should be trying to find them in their lists. And that is something you can help them with. They're listening to their sounds. So again, this idea of invented spelling, like I said, you can help them by stretching out the word, saying it nice and slow, and breaking it down by the sounds that you hear. But then we're also looking for spacing. Are they putting spaces between their words? We call them finger spaces. If you see that your student is really struggling and they're squishing all their words together, have them do a 2-finger space like this. And have them keep their fingers there while they're writing the next word. And then, are they using punctuation? Are they using a period? They can start using exclamation marks if they're really excited if they're writing something. Maybe they're saying it really excited. Maybe a character in their story, something amazing happened and they're saying it, so they're really excited in the story. And then the question mark, are they asking questions? Over here in the blue and red, now we can start thinking about using some commas while we're writing as well. So we have power words, listening to our sounds, spaces, and punctuation. And then the last thing that goes along with our punctuation is the beginning of every sentence should start with a capital letter. When writing, we do not want every word to be capital, and we do not want every word to be written with lowercase letters either. The beginning of every sentence should be started with a capital letter. That's like our green light, our go, and our punctuation is our stop light. It tells the reader to stop. So those are very important when writing. So these are just some tips, and these are lots of tools that we use in the classroom. If you have any questions, please let me know, or if you need any other ideas, let me know.